bit about the program, the MSc in Management and Entrepreneurship. We'll have the Voice of Student and Alumni, we'll have Alex from Career Services, and then we'll have the Q&A. So keeping it fairly brief on my side, I'd like to say that MSc in Management and Entrepreneurship offers a blend that allows you to understand the functional areas within a business, how to run your business, but it is effectively focused on those people who are interested in launching their business or contributing to a growth of an existing business, be it potentially your family business or maybe an SME or potentially another startup, or if you are interested in joining or starting your social business. One important component as well is trying to understand how you could be entrepreneurial within a larger corporate, and we offer some information and modules and practical experience on that as well. So the program consists of taught activities as well as a number of extracurricular activities. Okay. So some of the modules that we offer are more sort of management, functional management options. So we teach students about marketing, about strategic management. Obviously, accounting and finance is really important wherever you choose to go as your subsequent career, because numbers always talk. We focus on execution, be it in terms of teaching students about managing operations of a company or project managing. So many companies run on the basis of projects and with specific deliverables and number of stakeholders. So some upskilling on this is always helpful that we find. And on entrepreneurship side, we talk about how to identify an opportunity, making sure that this is a future-proof opportunity and in fact quite sizable, to create a business on that basis. We talk about how to potentially fund this opportunity and make it into a business, how to manage the growth of that business as it sort of passes the initial stages of scaling up, because then there could be a number of challenges with regards to managing different potential conflicts of interest among the different functions within organization, in marketing, operations, supply chain, etc. And also for growth, you'd need to identify which is the most viable avenue and the lowest hanging fruit for growing your business. And then we also offer entrepreneurship within specific contexts, be it within a social business. In this module, we'll look at new business models that are emerging and constantly kind of new ones coming up that allow companies to deliver economic value as well as social value to the key stakeholders. Family business is an interesting context. Some of our students live it through their basically personal background. There could be a number of conflicts that need to be managed. There could be a number of different conflicting priorities that are involved in making decisions about family business growth and family business management. And at a higher level of abstraction, family, early stage startups are really like little mini families. So I think many of the governance issues that we discuss in the family business module are also relevant for wider entrepreneurial contexts. And one unique module for this program that we offer is corporate entrepreneurship. We know that large corporates are an increasingly potent force behind entrepreneurship and innovation in the world. Many iconic products that we use have been developed through corporate entrepreneurship. So basically Gmail, Post-it notes, many other interesting products and solutions. And creating a new business within an existing one is always a bit more challenging. There are other considerations that need to be taken care of, and increasingly corporates are an important force within the early stage investor community. And so even if it is not your intention to go and work for a corporate, but you might want to create your own startup, understanding how to deal with innovation-driven corporates is an important part of the educational journey here. Okay. Oops. So just to backtrack a little bit. So a significant part of our program is actually a thesis, and we do offer an option to prepare an evidence-based business plan or a growth plan for an existing company. And I think Anish would be able to talk a little bit about his own thesis and how that sort of fits. But the focus is actually very practical. So I'll leave that for later discussion or for potentially for questions. So that kind of recaps a little bit the taught program. We cover, just to restate, we cover functional management as well as entrepreneurship in the widest possible range of options in terms of where you find entrepreneurship in which contexts. And what else would so in terms of extracurricular program, this MSc in Management and Entrepreneurship is managed by the Bettany Center for Entrepreneurship, which is a center that oversees the entrepreneurial development of the wider Cranfield University. So we do offer speaker series with established seasoned entrepreneurs and investors. We run kind of bootcamp type facility activities such as startup weekends, as well as competitions, one of which is Unilever Innovation Challenge, which Anish had taken part in last year, and his team came to be the winner of this competition. And we also run the climate-focused hackathon together with our collaborators at NatWest group, which is one of the largest banking groups in the UK. We offer bespoke mentoring to those companies, to those early stage ideas that effectively make progress and where we see a lot of potential in them becoming a growth-oriented company in the future. And we offer those some of those teams an opportunity to present to early stage investors during our Investor Day in July every year. And also we run a Venture Day. This is not only just the program itself, but the Bettany Center for Entrepreneurship runs a Venture Day. This year it was online, and I think the students were offered an opportunity to join this event and to see what the panel discussions had to offer as well. But in prior years, when it was face-to-face, MSc in Management and Entrepreneurship students were chosen to act as volunteers during this event, as you can see in one of those pictures. Okay, I'm going to skip through that a little bit because we've got Alex who will be speaking about different things. At this point, I'd like to hand it over to Manish to talk, to Anish to talk a little bit about his experience, and then we'll revert to further slides.
Hey everyone, I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Yep, can you guys see my screen? So just scan my presentation.
Yeah, I think it's not in it. Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to keep it pretty short as well. So I just graduated last year, and I would say the 3 best words to describe the management entrepreneurship course would be that it's extremely comprehensive, as Oksana mapped out in her slide, that it covers a range of modules, gives you a lot of opportunities that I definitely advise everyone to jump on. It's extremely challenging, and I'm not going to lie about it. It does get tough at times, but that's the point of it. It's about how you organize yourself, how you work with your classmates, and honestly make the most of it by asking questions, asking for feedback, and ask for help. So I'm just going to go through really quickly why I think Cranfield is a good choice for the management entrepreneurship course specifically, some of the highlights of the course, and just some future advice that I wish that I also really follow strictly. But yeah, just do as I say, not as I do, I guess. So the main reasons why I think you should choose Cranfield is that, yes, it's exclusively postgraduate. And what that means is, as a student, you get a lot of attention from the faculty, a lot of personalized attention, which is extremely important, especially since the course is only for 1 year and that time's going to fly by. There are lots of opportunities. And I would say, like a big part of entrepreneurship is grabbing onto opportunities, making the most of it. So even if it's a speaker series or if it's a competition, make sure you're part of it, make sure you participate and just be present and enjoy it. The location, yes, it's pretty quiet and some students don't like that. But then again, I feel like studying in Cranfield in that environment allowed me to honestly socialize and network with my classmates even more. And it geared me for the industry in terms of collaborating with a diverse cohort of people. As Oksana mentioned as well, the Management Entrepreneurship course has a lot of tie-ups with the Bettany Center of Innovation, which is going to be really exciting for all of you. And even though our batch kind of suffered with COVID, I can promise you that Cranfield made the most of it and kept us engaged throughout. So some of the key 3 highlights from the course, at least personally for me, were a lot of the modules and group projects, because it wasn't just an assignment that you had to take home, but a lot of the assignments involved you actually working with organizations and coming up with solutions for problems that they're facing. So real life, real business solutions. Now the Unilever challenge, as Oksana mentioned, I was lucky enough to win. And honestly, it's like the credit goes to the team, because we had a very diverse team with students studying different specializations. So the different perspectives and outlooks definitely helped. I was also lucky enough to do my thesis in collaboration with Unilever. And this is more geared towards the growth plan, because we were trying to come up with a new digital solution for them for the sales of one of their best-selling products. I was also lucky enough to do a 1-month internship while I was doing my thesis for Scientech Paperless Solutions, where this was more in the field of my interest, which was marketing and communications, where I was helping them with the sales and marketing projects and different campaigns. And this again just gave me a good insight of how to work within teams in a corporate world, how to immediately answer challenges, because a lot of times we procrastinate, but I feel like when it comes to business, that's the worst thing you can do. If there's a problem, go and fix it immediately. And yeah, some simple advice would be, take this time to discover what you enjoy doing. It's a chance for you to explore ideas, be creative. There's a lot of scope for creativity, and the faculty is extremely supportive in helping you build your ideas. If you have questions, don't shy away. There's no silly questions, just ask questions. Keep trying to figure out more about each module and speak to as many students as you can in the university, not just limited to your cohort. And yeah, just be present, enthusiastic, and make the most of it. And I'm sure you guys will do great. So yeah, good luck.
Let me unmute myself. Thank you very much, Anish. Anish is a great example of somebody who actually does have a lot of initiative and passion for what he does, because he managed to stay very focused in his studies, but also do quite a lot of extracurricular activities. Winning the Unilever challenge is quite difficult. We've always had a student since the inception on the winning team. But I think it was the first time that we've actually secured a thesis with Unilever, which is an extremely competitive process. And being one of the supervisors, I do recall that this project was described as kind of a guideline for other students to follow in the future by Unilever. So that's a great feedback as well. And on top of this, looking for a job and doing an internship, that's quite an achievement. Anish, could you just as a precursor to eventually hearing Alex, could you just elaborate where you are now and what it is that you're doing?
Sure. So while I was doing my thesis, I knew that I wanted to work within a company before I actually explore my own ideas. And this is just a personal decision. There are a bunch of classmates of mine that are exploring their own business plans. And I was always geared to businesses that work around people. And I was lucky enough to get a job, a marketing executive job in one of Europe's leading event companies. It's called Easy Fairs. And it's actually pretty exciting because the portfolio that I'm working on is a packaging portfolio. And I know it sounds a bit boring, but trust me, the packaging industry is highly competitive. It's so fragmented and it's built on like personal, formidable relationships. So networking and presenting yourself, presenting your ideas and communicating it is a big part of it. And yeah, it's been great. I just finished 4 months at the company. So if you guys have any questions about the events industry, hopefully I'll be able to help with that.
All right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Anish. Let me go to where we were before. And then I think as I talk about the extracurriculars, perhaps Tarek, and I understand Isha is here as well. If you, I'll basically call on you to add a little bit to the conversation if possible. Okay, so a little bit on Climate Hackathon. That was, we've run it. We were the inaugural university in the UK that had run NatWest Climate Hackathon. It was offered to the entire university, but targeted specifically students within the School of Management and School of Water, Energy and Environment. So we had a few teams, and I think the experience was positive. I think one of the teams was offered to join the newly established Climate Focus Accelerator at NatWest as well. So that was quite an interesting one. I think last year the students were offered to attend a virtual conference. It was the TechCrunch event, which, as you know, one of the main entrepreneurship conferences that is held in the US, and obviously at the time of COVID it was all virtual. So we've got some student blogs there if you'd like to kind of review that. I'm gonna skip this information just to make sure that we have enough time. We do run a number of fire chat sessions as well, which we've actually got established last year and continue running. We've had entrepreneurs and investors speaking about specific areas that might be of interest to students. One of our latest ones was from a serial entrepreneur and an angel investor talking about the tax efficient structures that enable quite a lot of, well, basically the most of early stage funding within the UK. And I think any business that is gearing for fundraising needs to understand that in quite a lot of detail. I don't know, Tarek, did you have any sort of impressions of that conversation?
Yes, I would like to stress on how important the fire chat sessions and the Bethany weekly meetings are, because to be honest, Cranfield has a very unique thing. It's not only about learning, because when you graduate, I think all of you have already graduated from your bachelor's. So you know that the concepts that you take during your bachelor's degrees are not 100% transmitted to your working environment. So the thing is, you should gain some practical, you should see how professionals actually do it and gain some insights from them. So the very unique thing about Cranfield is that it gets you connected with professionals, investors, and you have the opportunity to meet them weekly. And the thing is, it's actually a decision. It's actually a mindset. So if you do want to benefit from them, you could attend the Bethany Center, push for it, talk to investors. And the very unique part about Cranfield, it gives you all this opportunity. Until now, we had, if I'm not mistaken, 4 to 5 investors that we have already met. And it's how you approach them that will get you places later. The insights that they give you about the market, you can never learn from anywhere else. And the important part is to leverage that you are students. Because you are students, you are allowed to ask questions and to venture more. So if now you talk to any company, you say that I am a student at Cranfield University. It's a very esteemed university, and people will listen when you actually approach them. So you could benefit from the connection that you have from Cranfield and the Bethany Center. If you do approach them in the right way, they will benefit you largely in the environment. I wanted to share some photos that we had.
Yeah, sure.
With the...
Let me see if you are co-host or not?
Because you actually pressured me about making presentations, Oksana, so I did one on the spot.
No, I know that you always have one.
This one was very brief, to be honest. It's just, okay.
Oh, brilliant. You've got much better slides than me.
So just a few examples of what we had recently. The first one is with Simon. He introduced us about EIS, as Oksana was saying. He had a very insightful presentation, to be honest. And the things that he stated in the presentation, we could never have understood them if we were actually studying the module alone. Because he talked about how to get seed investing. He's also an angel investor. So if you do have good contact with him, you could actually try to leverage it later. I think I did, Oksana, if I'm not mistaken. Let's hope.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
And we also had Adata and Sam, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yes.
Agatha and Sam, yeah.
In the picture above, they are actually working with accelerators, and they gave us great insights about how to approach accelerators and how to pitch to them. Sam actually came in twice and gave us 2 pieces of information. He was very helpful, to be honest. And below we had it with...
and Sam is actually one of our alumni from several years back, so it's good to see him back. He's very supportive.
Exactly. And in the picture below, I think I forgot his name, Oksana.
Vincent Choi. So Vincent is a full-time MBA alumni from several years back. It is his number, I don't know how many startup, maybe third or so, second or third, but they've gone through an important fundraising cycle, and they're just gearing up to close their second round.
Exactly. And his insights were actually very interesting. And for the fun part, on the top right, we had a very small project that we made. We created planets. So there's always a part for fun instead of only studying and getting some insights. So I do believe that Cranfield was the best decision I ever made, to be honest, because the exposure that I had in Cranfield, I would have not gotten it anywhere else. And actually, I was accepted in several universities, and I don't regret at all choosing Cranfield instead of choosing USA, Canada, or other universities in the UK, because the exposure that they had is impeccable, to be honest. And I'll stop sharing.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so well, I did have a few more slides. I don't know, do we have Isha here?
Yeah, hi, Oksana.
Hi, Isha. So Isha is our super efficient and super effective social media manager. So I wouldn't want to miss her, because we actually really, all of us are following the updates. So that's been really good this year. So Isha, would you like to add a few words on anything that might have sort of stayed with you during that first term?
Honestly, I have been really happy. I've taken every opportunity to attend all the visiting faculty and all the speaker series at Bettany Center, because it's like a nice opportunity where a lot of MBA students are also there, so we can interact as well. So we can close that boundary between MBA and MSc students. And then whenever there's a guest speaker, they are more than willing to, like, connect on LinkedIn, and then further on, like, connect on emails. So I think it does give you a much better foot in the door. And even when we had the angel investor come in for the speaker series, he was very welcoming to, if we have a business idea. So I think if he is receiving 100 emails, I think ours would get a sort of a priority. So the access that Cranfield give us is something very special. So yeah, I'm really happy about it. And I like it, like it's a good mix of theory and practical experiences.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Isha. So on that note, can we just maybe let Alexis have a floor to talk about the career services that university offers, and then if we've got anything else that needs to be picked up, we'll do it through the Q&A. Alexis, we might not be able to hear you just at this point.
Is this
Alexis?
any better?
Oh, yeah.
That's-
Yes, now it's better. Yes, thank you.
Sorry about that. We are experiencing a few technical issues with my headset this morning. So hopefully you can all hear me and see my slide. So we'll start with the one-to-one coaching, because this is the area that we're told by our students is really the most powerful in terms of their development. So at Cranfield, we offer you unlimited appointments with a career development manager, and we have 5 in our team, which is growing all the time. And in these sessions, you can really talk about your career aspirations and dig down into which employers you want to target and how you might approach them. And also everything from interview tips right the way through to negotiating your offer and your salaries. So it really is an amazing, it's an amazing chance for you to get to talk to somebody in a one-to-one confidential way. So workshops, we have these interactive sessions that are delivered either face-to-face or virtually, depending on what might be happening in the world at the time. And they cover a wide range of topics, including networking, including how to fill out application forms well. And we also have external speakers who come in and do industry-focused sessions too. So there's lots for you to get involved with. Video tutorials, I've created a large number of these myself. And for those of you who are quite visual learners, these are handy for you to go through our learning packs, but in a video style. So lots of things for you to get involved with. I've also started doing podcasts as well, which is new for this year. So those of you who like to learn in an auditory way can listen in and pick up some really useful tips, again, from staff at Cranfield, but also from our external speakers as well. So for the more theorists amongst you, we've written a wide suite of learning packs, and they're brilliant. You can download them digitally and work your way through. They're fabulous for reading up in advance of a workshop or in advance of a coaching appointment, so that you come to the appointment or come to the workshop already fully armed with the information and ready to put it into practice, because practice is what makes perfect with these types of skills. So moving on to our technology, we have VMOC, which is a very powerful 24/7 CV critiquing system. VMOC goes through your CV and actually helps you build it in the first place to the Cranfield Gold Standard, and then provides line-by-line suggestions on how you can improve your content. It's benchmarked against other people who are at the same or similar level to you in terms of work experience. And so it's really very focused on helping you create that first initial impression. And what it means is that by the time you come to your coaching appointment, you can have value added conversations, not about spelling mistakes and bullet points, but really about your aspirations and maybe building your confidence and those types of things. So for students who decide on Cranfield, we actually open up VMOC to them before they even come to campus. So you can start preparing yourself a few months in advance of starting your course. And we've found this to have a great impact in terms of the outcomes of those students. As I've listened to the alumni here today, people who are ahead of the game tend to do much better in the end in terms of receiving job offers and job offers in the end. So I would highly recommend people to get on board with that quickly. So subscription resources, these are things that we've paid for so that you don't have to. And you can use those to build excellent cover letters and to start crafting intelligent interview questions. So these are research tools like Glassdoor, like Graduates First for psychometric tests, like Mintel and Factiva. And there you can find out about the industry you're interested in and start gathering some research on them. So simplicity, that's another piece of our tech. It's our very powerful CRM. And simplicity is the place where you do everything from booking your coaching appointments to booking onto workshops. And also you can load your CVs and your cover letters to be discovered by our recruiters, because they also use simplicity. So it's an excellent way for you to get visibility. You can also put into place job alerts, which are tailored to exactly the interests that you have. So again, we give workshops on how to use this, and we advise you to get to grips with simplicity very quickly. It also holds all of our video tutorials, learning packs, podcasts, and everything else that I've mentioned so far. So employer engagement, that's a micro department within the Career Development Service. And those people are highly experienced in business development, and they work together to bring relevant opportunities to our student audience. They also manage a lot of the events and produce careers fairs and partner with other organizations like Student Circus, that are a specific international student organization that help put visa sponsoring employers in front of our students. So not only do we produce events off our own back, but we also partner with a number of organizations that help us to open up a wider array of opportunities for you. So mentoring, this is something that's quite new to the Cranfield Career Development Service. And this is bringing together not only alumni, but other people in industry who are there to help you discover what's going on in the world, talk to you about your job aspirations so that you can get the inside track on what the jobs market is like and what's going on in that particular industry. It's only been running for a few months, but we've already had a number of successful things to talk about, and you can see that on social media, which I'll talk about in a second. So people have gained jobs from being mentored, but more than that, it's really about getting inside knowledge into what's going on. So in terms of social media, in the chat in a moment, I will put our QR codes, which will have all the links. If you're active on Instagram, that is the channel that we use the most, but we're also on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So I would recommend, even if you're just considering Cranfield, link up with us now so that you can see all of the activities that we're involved with. So that is it from me. Happy to take any questions on any of that from people who are interested. Dominic, I think you're on mute if you're talking at the moment.
Oh, no, I was only going to say, Oksana, back to you. That's fine.
Nick. Yes, excellent. Thank you, Alexis, for the presentation. So I can see that there are some questions in the chat. Okay, let me just scroll. Okay. Tuition fees. Okay. So there was a question about tuition fees and scholarships. Just before I proceed, I'll just pop my LinkedIn details into the chat if somebody wants to connect with me. But Cranfield offers a great deal of or supports a great deal of funding opportunities. There is a web page, let me look it up, which is MSc funding opportunities page, which lists all the different scholarships that you might wish to apply from within your country. We do offer a very small number of bursaries, which are essentially merit-based, and those are decided, sometime during the admission cycle. However, these would be partial fees. So in terms of students, so we usually I don't know if you are aware of this program, but there is a Chavingen scholarship program. And we do always tend to have students every year that are supported by that program that covers the full tuition fees for students. There is also, in terms of funding opportunities, there are also student loans that are offered by various organizations. Let me just double check what this page is. So within Cranfield offers, like I said, partial bursaries, which offer a reduction on fees. They're obviously merit-based, and then also there are a number of different opportunities there. So there was a question about what's the course load look like. Well, I mean, from my program directorship point of view, I'd say we'd like to load you up as much as possible to make it an indeed very challenging experience, to put you under pressure, because effectively that's what you will be at when you go into the workplace, be it even within your business or elsewhere. So but I would hand it over to Tarek, Anish, and Isha to answer that question.
To be honest, the workload is actually, it has a very good work-learning balance, if you would like to put it that way. I don't think the studying workload is too much, because you will still have time to attend events. And so if you do attend everything, then it is actually significant. And I do advise that you should take all opportunities in this university, because learning is actually two ways: in classroom, which is not too much, to be honest. But other than that, if you do take all the opportunities, then you will take all the benefit from the class. But I don't think it's too much, to be honest.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with Tarek. I think it is challenging, but like it only gets too much if you guys let it pile up, if that makes sense. So just make sure, like, simple advice. I know it sounds preachy, but like just keep a to-do list with deadlines, and if you stick to it, if you stay organized and just follow your calendar, you guys should be all right for sure.
So I would say that our modules are delivered within sort of 20-hour slots, or usually over 1 week or sometimes more weeks. But it obviously, every module requires preparation, requires the submission, sort of preparation of your assignments, your group work, etc., etc. So for that 20 hours of class time, we notionally allocate 100 learning hours as well. So I suppose it depends, quite a lot depends on you and how effectively you organize your work and your group. Does it answer the question, or was there a bit more specifics on it? Wasim, feel free to come off mute if you'd like. Okay, excellent. So further questions. Now's the chance. We've got 20 minutes.
Oksana, I think we have questions about writing skills and English proficiency.
Okay, so in terms of English proficiency for international students whose language of education or previous education was not English, or at least it's not English within that country as an official language, there needs to be a English proficiency test. I think we'll take the IELTS academic tests, and we pay particular attention to the writing component, because we feel that written communication is really key. There's a lot of it that happens in the real world. Even if it is a presentation, it needs to be crafted, it needs to be argumented, etc. So I think we're looking at the total IELTS at 6.5, and the same for the written component as well. I think we also are very mindful for the learning experience of people within the cohort. So we'd like to have everybody well prepared to contribute to group discussions, to the assignment preparation, etc. So that was, Tarek, remind me, what was the first question?
It was about, I think Wati was asking about,
oh yeah,
he doesn't feel confident about his writing skills.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If I could,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, if I could address this question. Sorry, I don't think it's a problem, to be honest, because we have three means of learning. We have exams, we have presentations, and we have writing. So usually you are allocated to a learning team. And when you go into your learning team, which is between 4 or 5 people, each one will have a strong point for sure. So you could benefit from them along the way. You might be really good at presentations, for example, or giving ideas. Someone else could be really good at writing. So you will make a good team, and together you will develop something that is really good for the course. So think about it as a learning experience while you are with your learning team, because you would actually benefit so much from them, especially that they are from different nationalities. And that goes to Vivek's question. The class is actually diverse. We have around 7 nationalities, and I know that before it was even more. So we have people from China, India, Lebanon, Nigeria, Canada, Italy. It's actually diverse.
Yes, I think that's one of the areas that we'd like to promote within the program, the diversity of geographical, but also in terms of functional backgrounds as well, so that there are more interesting discussions going on. So we do, but I mean, there's also just the wider issue that the international students, postgraduate international students, do tend to come a bit more from some countries than others, but we do try to make sure that there is sufficient diversity within the program. Okay, so there was a question from Doris about the GMAT. So no, well, we do take GMAT if that's your preferred option, but I think for MSc studies within the UK, the customary assessment for the English is IELTS test. And right, so in terms of questions, obviously, you can connect with me if you are interested in student experience with Tariq, Isha, or Anish, but I'm happy to answer the questions. Depending on the nature of the question, then I might have to forward it on to internally. If it is maybe more admissions administrative question, then I will forward it to the admissions. If it is to do with funding, then obviously I'll forward it to the student funding colleagues.
There's a question about the opportunities to interact with other students from other departments. And honestly, I think there's a lot of opportunities to do that. Like, just remember, your time in Cranfield isn't limited to your classrooms. There's going to be several activities, several events that university organizes. Most students that do come to university are very keen on interacting and exploring different people and learning from them. So you'll definitely meet people from different courses. And for example, the Unilever Challenge is also a very good opportunity to work with other students from different specializations. Because I think one of the conditions about forming your team is that you should have a team member from each school within Cranfield, so School of Management, or the manufacturing students, and so on. So for example, in my team, I was from the management entrepreneurship course, but we had a student that was studying manufacturing, a student studying management, and a student studying design thinking. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunities for you to learn from other students from different schools, different specializations, different backgrounds.
Thank you, Anish. So there was a question about from Wasim again about the COVID situation and if it worsens. So Anish, you were part of the cohort that actually did have quite a lot of online teaching. At this point in time, we are face to face, but obviously we always we are guided by the wider government guidelines and also Department for Education guidelines as well. So this is how the decision is being made and the students have been informed. But I think Anish, you lived through online teaching, so I don't know what should this happen, yeah. We don't know.
Well, obviously, like, no, I understand the students, you want face-to-face classes, but trust me when I say this, like, I'm not saying this just because I graduated from Cranfield and I'm on this call. Like, I genuinely mean it when I say that Cranfield definitely kept us engaged through the online sessions. And it's just not online classes. Like, they had online events, online activities. And I feel like, especially when they put you in teams and group projects, there's a lot of communication that happens between students just outside, or like also outside of that 1 hour class. Because your team will also connect on Zoom calls, will also be on different messaging groups, discussing about projects and the next steps for your assignments. So I'd say it is an unfortunate situation, and I know it because, like, as I said, I work in the events industry and we're all very stressed in the company right now because we had to postpone a bunch of our events. But yeah, I think online is going to be there for a while. And it's better to just embrace it and make the most of it. And trust me, Cranfield definitely will keep you engaged with activities and sessions and classes.
Okay, Tarek, so there was a question about city life. I think Anish, you alluded to the fact that it is fairly quiet on campus and potentially in Cranfield Village as well. Tarek, you are more central, aren't you? So what's your experience?
Yes, I unfortunately took the choice of actually living outside campus. It has its pros and cons. The pros is that it's actually better than on campus because it's really quiet and I like a bit of a wildlife. But the thing is that I have been going to classes like 2 hours before because the buses are limited. So my advice is to stay on campus, and just 1 month into university, you will really like the life on campus. Uh, it's a very friendly environment. You get to meet too many people very fast. So don't worry about it. I personally, if I had the choice again, I would definitely go on campus. It's much better.
Yeah, I mean, I can say I'm living in Lancaster Hall, and it's like really the best time. Like you want the whole college experience. My flatmates, I have friends from different courses, different countries, and seriously, like even after class, all of us are having dinner together, breakfast together, maybe like going for badminton matches in the evening. So that's how you pretty much live the whole. You have to like make efforts to make the whole city life interactive, because I know a lot of people say it's very boring, but for me it's not, because if you actually, I would make schedules to hang out with people as well. So that would, like, that way you always have something to do every hour of the day as well for me.
Personally, my time is spent on campus, as Isha said. So I only go back to sleep like at 11, 12 p.m. I go back at 12 a.m. I go back to my place. So it's actually useless. I wish I was on campus.
And I definitely agree because I was staying in a village as well. And it's like you said, I spend most of my time on campus, even though my house is in a village. So yeah, if you can get a place on campus, definitely go for it. It's a good opportunity to meet
Yeah,
all
and
For
your
this,
we
I
have
would say
access
you'd need
to.
to apply early because places run out quite quickly.
Oh yes, and like SOM buildings are available 24/7. So even if you have assignments, you can like access the building at even at the 12 in the night and do your assignment there with your group. So even that's very convenient and like a
And
nice
don't
access besides the library.
don't join on this premise, but in ASOM, as Isha said, there is free coffee all the time. So usually everyone in university goes to ASOM.
Yeah, that's a significant perk. And not only for me because I live on coffee. But yeah, all right, okay. Any further questions? So I think Haley from marketing had been kindly putting the information who to contact for what. I think the admissions inquiries that certainly study some at Cranfield do mention the program that you would like to apply, so that they, you know, as things need to be directed, then it would come to me. If there are specific questions about the kind of the teaching content and extracurriculars, that's probably me. But anyway, it's actually a very good idea to go through Study Som. Always go through somebody else. Okay, so let me see. Are there any questions that we haven't answered? I suppose one aspect I haven't really mentioned is that at some point we did have attending international startup conference as part of our program. And so this year we're still considering whether that would happen or not, but obviously we'd need to check with the appropriate powers that be whether we're allowed to travel internationally and what potential risks and implications of that are. So last year we've addressed it through attending an online conference. So whichever way it pans out, we do think that it is an important opportunity for students to actually have an opportunity to attend a conference one way or another. So that still, we'll see how it pans out this year. Okay, so I think everybody's from the panel had put their LinkedIn profile. Thank you very much. There was a question about French. Oh, global immersion program. Well, not within within the academic program, really, because I suppose we do have fairly constrained amount of time to be able to do that. However, say that I suppose that our ethos is to support the aspirations of our students to the extent that we are able to support them. So, for instance, if you'd like to, if you would find an opportunity for yourself to do a growth project for a company overseas, you know, we'd like to support that, but we do not at this time plan international immersion opportunities. If we do travel to a conference, in the past we've traveled to one in Barcelona. We'll have to see from their side and from our side what this year will bring, as I think this week we're in a completely different place as we were last week. So Rasim was asking whether professors are easily accessible. I suppose, I don't know whether one of you three would like to say something. I think we kind of covered it, but I suppose it never hurts.
Yeah, the staff-student interaction in Cranfield is actually very easy. You could talk to them anytime. And the interesting part about the staff members is that they are all professionals and they have something. It's not like they treat you as a child. They actually treat you as a grown-up, because Cranfield is a graduate university, so you don't have undergrads. So even the level of interaction is actually really good.
Thank you, Tarek.
Yeah, Wasim, there's always time to contact them. So usually it's like 24, 48 hours. I have never requested a meeting or something and failed in that. They are always available. And Oksana, there was a question about the thesis word limit.
The thesis word limit. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Our current word limit is 10,000 to 12,000 words. And we've actually recently increased that word count because we've noticed that some of the better theses actually have quite a lot of words, and we didn't want those extensive kind of evidence-based pieces of work to be penalized because the word to be too long. I don't know, I think the best person to ask here is Anish in terms of, you know, what that all means in practice. It is not the intention, though, from my point of view, is that you just try to fill in the number of words. It is for you to be able to freely express enough information to back up your suggestion.
No, definitely. I think the goal is to be as articulate as possible. So you don't want to be rambling on just to fill up the page. You want to be able to convey useful information, valuable information, but also go into that information in depth. So not just scratch it on the surface level. And again, I feel like there's always two types of students: a student that struggles to write enough, and then a student that writes too much and then struggles to cut it down at the end. So I guess it just depends on what kind of student you are. And I'm actually happy that they increased the word count, because I remember I actually struggled quite a bit with my thesis cutting down the words towards the end. But yeah, I guess for some students, it might be not so good news, and for some students, great news. But yeah, for your thesis, you're going to have 3 months, so don't worry about it. And I'd say take as much support as you can from your supervisor. Oksana knows we had like so many meetings, so many discussions, and it was like without any of those meetings or discussions, I wouldn't be able to finish my thesis the way I did. And yeah, take as much support as you can from the faculty. They're there to guide you and help you. So yeah, you guys will be fine.
So Anish had gotten the best thesis prize, so that is to be celebrated. It was really a really nicely put together thesis. So Anish, could you just quickly recap in terms of the data and kind of a
Sure.
collection? What is it that you've done?
Sure. So it started off with the Unilever competition, where they actually really liked the idea that our group presented. And me and another student from my team, we kind of took that idea a bit forward, and we wanted to make a business plan around it, a growth plan around it, and see the feasibility of that idea and actually how to implement it in a real world scenario. Now, this actually was a bit complicated because we had to collect a lot of data. So we used and explored several different research methodologies, from surveys to actually conducting a trial on campus with students. And that was definitely a task. It took a lot of coordination, a lot of organization, messaging a bunch of students, making sure they turn up at the right time, and tracking all of that
And
data.
partners as well. So that was quite an interesting one.
And handling the different partners that were involved. And again, this is an experience that I was talking about that actually is very valuable, because I feel like a lot of the work that we do when we actually enter businesses and corporates, it's all about coordination, and it's all about management and that entrepreneurial mindset. It might not necessarily be just coming up and launching a business, but also where you can use an entrepreneurial mindset and use your limited resources to the best that you can. And the different research methodologies, like I was very lucky to explore, I think, up to 3 to 4 different research methodologies, from surveys, the actual trial, to interviews with students and more. And this gives you a lot of first-hand insights into the consumer and into the idea that you're actually testing. A lot of other students get kind of stuck up when they're not happy with the data they collected. But what I think I learned is it's not about your idea being right or wrong. It's about you getting the right data and to see, okay, this is why it's right. And if this is why it's wrong, then what can we do to make it right? So make sure that you guys explore different data research methodologies, make the most of it. And that's the more fun part of your thesis, honestly. Going through the data collection process, where there's a sense of actualization that actually happens when you see the data on a piece of paper and you're like, oh, okay, this means that this consumer might prefer this product, and these are the reasons behind that. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Anish. Gosh, amazing. The time flies. I always try to keep my bit shorter and shorter, but there's still never enough time. So on this note, I'd like to thank everyone for joining, particularly those of you who are considering to join us. I hope had a good opportunity to have a flavor of what the life on campus is, what the life on the program is, and what it is that you could expect, and you've gotten some valuable tips as well. I would like to thank very much to my panel. So that included Anish, who's our alumni from last year, Tarek and Isha, who are the representatives for this cohort this year, Dominic, who's been running everything behind the scenes, Haley as well from marketing, and last but definitely not least, Alexis from Career Services, who'd given a really hands-on and practical introduction to what to expect in terms of career support when you land in Cranfield. On that note, I would encourage everyone to direct your questions either to admissions or to me, if it is about the suitability for the program or the program content and extracurriculars to me, if it is the admissions questions to studysom@cranfieldac.uk. You've had in this chat, you've had our coordinates where to find us on social media, so and on email, so please feel free to keep in touch. Dominic, is there something else I'm forgetting? Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone, and it was lovely interacting with you, and I hope the questions have been answered. I understand, Haley, that we will be posting this or distributing this webinar to those who have registered but haven't been able to attend. Is that correct?
That's correct. A follow-up email will go out with a link to the recording.
Thank you very much. And on that note, if you are celebrating Christmas, New Year, have a lovely celebration or otherwise enjoy that beautiful time of the year.